Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Lauren Smith with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that we are recording today's webinar and will make it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speakers, please add them to the chat box and they will be addressed toward the end. Today's topic is Save Time with AI-powered automated review responses, and it is brought to us by Consumer Fusion. Here to provide today's discussion is Brynn Gibbs, CEO of Consumer Fusion, and Mark Spencer, COO of Consumer Fusion. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to Consumer Fusion for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Thank you, Lauren. My name is Mark Spencer. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Consumer Fusion, and we have Brynn Gibbs, the founder and CEO. And the topic today is extremely exciting, and we're here to bring you a lot of good nuggets. So we want to dive right into it. So the overview of what we're going to discuss today is why you need to respond to your online reviews. And we see in the industry, a lot of people just respond potentially just to the negative reviews and not the positive reviews. So responding to all of your online reviews is extremely important. And then we're going to discuss the benefits of using AI-powered review response systems. And then we're going to give you examples of how smart review responses save time for you and your brand. And then we're going to go into examples of emerging AI technology that we discussed. So a couple key statistics that we want to discuss today on how important, maybe you might not think it is, but the consumers tell the story. 90% of consumers read business owners' responses to negative reviews. So it is extremely important to respond to the reviews. And we're going to go over how to respond to those negative reviews as well. Now, 33% of consumers are more likely to upgrade their review if a business responds within 24 hours. As being a franchisee or a franchisor, it's extremely hard to always have your pulse on every single review and responding to those reviews. But it is important, especially with negative content, that end consumer might update that review if you do it in a very timely manner. Now, this is one of the most important slides of this whole presentation is 88% of respondents are more likely to look past a negative review if they see that the business has responded to it adequately and addressed the issue. So clearly in responding to reviews, we will go over how to respond to the reviews in a very professional way. But the key is understanding that if there are negatives and you're responding in a very professional manner, those potential consumers are going to look over it or just pick up the phone and call you. So now I'm going to pass the baton over to Brynn Gibbs, and she's going to discuss how to best practices for responding to reviews.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good day today. So best practices for review responses, and this is whether it's automated or a manual process for you and your team at the moment, but responding to all of your reviews, both the positive and the negative, responding within 24 to 48 hours of a new review being received. That stat that Mark just shared, where it's actually a Yelp stat that if a business responds within 24 business hours, that user, there's a 33% chance that they will update or remove the review altogether. So that's 1 in every 3 of your negative reviews. So that's an important stat to keep in the back of your mind. But a little trick that a lot of people don't know about is Google picks up on keywords within reviews posted to your business, but also in the responses to the reviews. So what we do at Consumer Fusion and what we coach our clients on doing as well is loading your review responses with categories and keywords. Things like we pride ourselves on being the best Italian restaurant. Incorporate as many categories and keywords with best right before them, and then incorporate your location as well. So your cities or your territories in there. Just a little trick that just helps give Google some more information on your business. To respond to a positive review, you can keep those short and sweet. If you want to have them be lengthy and plug in those keywords, more power to you. But in just a day-to-day, simple 1 to 2 sentences will get the job done there. But with responding to negative reviews, this is where you want to take a more careful approach and always provide your customers with a way to reach out to someone at the business. How we like to do it is with our dynamic fields. We plug in either an email or phone number of how that reviewer can get in touch with someone at the business. And not only is it helping address that specific reviewer's concern, it also devalues the review to the public because it shows that you are promptly responding to the review, but you care enough to give that customer direct means to you so that you can discuss the situation further. So a few more tips around responding to reviews. Always devalue the review to the public by showing that you care, that the reviewer is being heard, and that you are taking this matter back to your team. Express that you are empathetic without directly admitting fault. You don't want to come across as aggressive. You want to be very neutral, customer service oriented. Find a way to take the conversation offline by offering to reach out to the unhappy customer privately. It's possible to work with the customer to get them to update or remove their review. Include your contact email or phone number in the response. And then remember that on some sites, mainly Yelp, you have the ability to privately message the reviewer. Keep in mind though, that those conversations can be like someone can take a screenshot and then share that as a review. So just, something to keep in the back of your mind there. But if there's information or if you have maybe like HIPAA compliant concerns, you can say things privately that are not in the public owner's response on Yelp. And then be aware that customers pay attention to the way businesses handle their response. That first stat, 90% of consumers read businesses' responses to their reviews. So not only can you help how your business ranks organically by plugging in your categories, keywords, and location, but you're also just earning your future customers' trust by showing that you care and that you are appreciative of the happy customers who leave you reviews, but also that you will take any necessary steps to rectify a circumstance when a customer does not have a good experience. So on average, it takes about 3 minutes to write a review response, time that accumulates as more reviews start coming in. Positive reviews, again, a sentence or two, they're quick and to the point. It's the negative reviews that take a little bit of time because you want to be strategic and put a little more thought process into what goes into the 1-star review responses. But 3 minutes per review, depending on the volume of how many reviews your brand gets on a day, weekly, monthly basis, that's a lot of time that is taken when it comes to review responses, which is why I'm excited to start kind of diving into how we have developed smart review responses that are AI powered that still give you the ability to keep a pulse on what people are saying online about your brand in reviews through review sentiment, but it's a trusted automated process because responding to your reviews is important, but it can be automated. And if you're using the right tools, you can still keep a pulse on everything and your team can have time freed up to work on other day-to-day, things in the business. So what are the benefits of using an AI-powered review response system? Increased efficiency. Automating the process of collecting and responding to reviews can save time and allow businesses to focus on other important tasks while still tracking customer experience via review sentiment tools. An overall improved reputation. An AI-powered review response system can help businesses build good relationships with customers and strengthen their brand's reputation. Increased customer engagement. Automated review responses enable businesses to respond quickly to feedback and stay engaged with customers. And another tip is that if new customers who receive review solicitation from you, if they see that you are appreciative to positive reviews and that you acknowledge them by responding to the reviews, it increases the likelihood that they will leave you a review when they are requested one after coming to your business. So 95% of consumers read online reviews before choosing a business or service. And here are some examples of how smart review responses save time. And Mark's going to take it over from here.
So here's an example. Here's one of the brands that we work with that get a large amount of reviews on a monthly basis. So we've replied to over 32,000 reviews. Just in the month of December alone of last year, there's 2,359 that came in. All of the Google replies and Facebook replies. So we've saved this brand a total of 1,600 hours, or let's just call it 66 days in review responses. But not only that, but it's consistency. It's not just responding to here and there, it's responding to each and every one of those Google and Facebook reviews. Now, with that being said, these responses are done for the brand and the franchisees within 24 business hours. So it is very immediate. That leads to help potentially addressing those negative reviews that do come in on that 33% stat. One of the largest restaurant chains in the United States, these are very astonishing numbers in regards to the man hours of the reviews being responded to. So the total replies of over 131,000. Of course, restaurants do get a larger amount of review volume than some of the other solutions or services out there. So with that, we were able to save this brand, and then this brand said that they didn't have much time to get around to responding to the reviews. So we've saved them almost a full year of responding to these reviews. And the responses that they were doing prior to our platform, they were just very generic, and they have seen a huge increase as well. The last one is another brand that we work with in regards to total replies. 3,823 replies, and we've saved them over almost 8 days. Now, back to the college chunks, not only that, but because we have built-in keywords within the owner's responses, they have seen over 110% increase in customer actions year over year. So not only are they being responded to, but Google is really picking up on those algorithms with keywords baked into the owner's responses, which therefore has increased the most important part, which is customer actions on your Google business profile. So the last part is emerging AI technology. With emerging AI technology, as you guys all know, is ChatGPT. Now, clearly ChatGPT has now 4. It's a level 4, and there's some fun statistics that ChatGPT 4 can pass the bar exam, which is pretty exciting. So there's a lot of good things that are being deployed with ChatGPT. It is setting records for the fastest growing user base. There's an estimated of over 100 million monthly active users as of a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I'm sure that has grown since. So the goal is using a tool like this. So it's not really trying to avoid it. Eventually, if you're going to avoid it, you're going to be left behind in the dust. So we are currently using a tool as ChatGPT to help come up with customized owner's responses for each review, along with general response templates that can be applied to your automation tools, which is city and state, key category words, username, and so on and so forth. Now, and I don't know if you've ever tried to go into ChatGPT and create an owner's response around a 5-star Google review or a 1-star Google review. But what we do is we punch it in and it spits out what we feel would be a great response. So this does help our team with some of this technology. So this is an example of one of our team members seeing what kind of responses would come out of this. So it's very thorough and very extremely detailed in regards to the response. Once again, this is obviously saving time and money for each and every one of you, whether you're a franchisee or a franchisor. But here's an example of writing 10 review responses to 5-star reviews for a plumbing company. So I highly recommend, if you haven't already, sign up for ChatGPT and play around with it. I'm sure the majority of you have already tried to do multiple things or ask funny things to see what kind of responses. But where it applies is around your business, your franchisees, or your brand, to make sure you're always staying consistent. But it's nice to have these examples to where A, you can create templates for your franchisees to respond, or B, you at corporate can respond to these reviews very thoroughly for your franchisees, because as you know, a lot of the time these franchisees have so much on their plate and they're focusing on other things, to where this could be more automated for those franchisees. Now, some of the key takeaways that Brynn and I mentioned throughout this presentation is it's very important to leave an owner's response on the negative reviews along with the positive reviews. Now, in those owner's responses, you want to make sure they're timely, making sure you respond to those reviews as quick as possible, but then also bake in those keywords, like Brynn said, like the best electrician, and then city and state, or the territories that you do service, or the areas that you do service. So we highly recommend we see that, because we just see a lot of generic responses like, thank you, Bob, for the 5-star review. Great. We'll expand that a little bit more. And then based off of that, put those keywords in those owners' responses. Number 2 is customers are paying attention to how you respond to your online reviews. Now, you did have a couple of takeaways in regards to the owner's responses. 88% look to see if you responded to a negative, and they'll move along knowing that you're really trying to reach out and rectify the situation. So understand that maybe you're thinking, oh, reviews and review responses aren't a big deal, but it's up in the 80 to 90 percentile around reviews, review responses, and how you respond to them. So I would highly recommend to pay attention to how you respond to your online reviews. And once again, don't turn it into a double negative. As Brynn mentioned, we see a lot of the times when we are coming across brands that we haven't worked with yet and we roll them out, we see that on Yelp, you see a franchisee potentially getting a little aggressive on a private message on Yelp. And then that person screenshots it and updates their review to show that screenshot on how emotionally he's involved. And so really understanding to devalue the reviews on your owner's responses if it's negative, and then clearly provide a contact information, whether it's email, phone number, or we recommend both. So that way it's important to where a consumer, and that's the sad part is with negative reviews and the review responses, consumers aren't going to pick up the phone and saying, hey, I was going to go to you, but I'm actually going to go to your competitor based off of how you responded to that review. So they just go to your competitor. So it is like carbon monoxide. So understanding how to address it and do it the right way, whether you as a franchisor allow those franchisees to respond themselves, or the franchisees having too much on the plate to where it's not consistent in responding to those reviews, we recommend the franchisor, step in if those review responses are not being done in a timely manner. And then the most important part is, as we all know, there's so much technology out there today, and understanding to take advantage of the technology that presents itself. And so using emerging technologies to your advantage is crucial. I'm sure you've seen on LinkedIn and what IFA is cranking out in regards to a lot of the panels that we saw at the IFA. ChatGPT is here to stay, and it's only evolving. And how we adapt to those emerging technologies is extremely important for you and your brand to make sure you're always on the cutting edge of technology. And not only that, but providing your franchisees with that cutting edge technology and taking advantage of it to only better you, to set you aside from your competitors. So from here, I am going to open any discussions up around questions around ChatGPT, review responses, negative reviews, and the responses. But from here, are there any questions that we can help you out with, or some form of a case study or issues that you guys have gone through?
Here's one question, Mark. Has anyone experienced your franchisees getting numerous positive reviews and Google flags them as false simply based on the amount of reviews? They then remove them. This is from Michael Glacier. I apologize if I didn't pronounce your last name correctly. Okay, so yes, Michael, that does happen. What we have been successful in doing is, so in Consumer Fusion, we have a real-time reviews tab. So we're able to screenshot those positive reviews and then reach out to Google support and show them the reviews that have gone missing. They won't always reinstate the reviews, but that has worked to our success in the past. Another thing is Google does this to try to prevent businesses from violating their terms when it comes to review generation. So like Google does not want you review gating. They do not want you surveying your customers and then selecting the 4 and 5 star happy people and then pushing them to leave a review. They want you asking all of your customers openly and fairly to leave reviews. So if that is why Google has systems like that in place, the good news is that if you have screenshots, you can reach out to Google support and let them know what transpired and try to work with them to get those reviews reinstated. But you're not alone. It is happening to all businesses across the board. You're welcome. He said thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Any pain points around reviews in general that they would just want to run by the group? Okay, here's one. How do you handle customers that request a phone call versus an automated response? Wait, I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure I understand the question. How do you handle? So I am going to assume that you mean when you respond to a review and that person wants a phone call, that would be up to you and your team on within the dynamic field that populates into the review responses. If you wanted to choose an email and or a phone number to provide to the reviewer to reach out to someone. So there's some brands who have it go to their nationwide call center. There's some brands who have it go directly to management at that location. So you would have the ability to choose which dynamic fields plug into the review responses, and you could do it by rating. So most often it's only the 1 and 2 star reviews that have those dynamic fields that give the reviewer a direct way to reach out to somebody at the business. I hope that answered your question, Jim. Let me know if not.
Yeah, and not only that, but it sounds like with a phone call, it sounds like a 1 or 2 star. And clearly, sometimes when you do get a review, the username is, you can't find it in your database to reach out to try to rectify the situation. But I definitely recommend an owner's response, so that way a potential consumer or consumers that come across the negative review clearly see that you're trying to rectify it. But I do recommend a phone call if you know who that user is that wrote that review, to reach out and rectify the situation. That
And
way.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that happens so often where the username is JKR and the business can't identify who that customer is. So in that circumstance, it is absolutely okay to say, like, we're unable to identify you, we have no record of you, and kind of call that out, and even state, like, responding to this review is our only means of communicating with you. That way, again, it just devalues that review even more to the public, but still showing that your team is, wanting and trying to do everything they can to rectify the experience. Okay, a new question from Stu Benedict. What are some reasons reviews would go missing, as in they were published initially and then were removed for some reason? Stu, this happens often. Sometimes it's just user error where somebody thinks they successfully posted a review, but it did not in fact post. Similar to Yelp, Google has algorithms in place where if they feel that it is not a legitimate account or a review that it violates guidelines, they will filter or remove those reviews. So that's why we do like to have those real-time reviews where you can provide Google with those screenshots to, try to get those positive reviews back for you, because it is frustrating. You guys work hard for these reviews. Your customers take time to leave the reviews, and you don't want to have to continuously repeat and ask them. But it's nothing that you are doing wrong. It is just Google and its algorithms. And it is frustrating. Sometimes, like, we'll have to reach out to Google support 4 or 5 different times for a client, and the 4th or 5th moderator will, care to help us. But a lot of times they'll just say, we just encourage you to always try to get more reviews, which is not what a business owner wants to hear. But I hope it helps assure you guys it's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's Google's algorithms, or it is a user error from the reviewer trying to review on your behalf. And just when dealing with Google support in general, you have to be persistent. Don't expect that on your first outreach attempt, you're going to get the solution rectified. It's going to take multiple attempts most of the time. They're very busy and overloaded, but they will help if you're persistent enough. This is a question from Alyssa Ball. When asking for reviews, how do you handle customers who don't have a Google account and don't want to create one? Great question. So you have different options when it comes to where you're pushing reviews through review generation efforts. One of our templates will have, like, the brand logo up top, thank them for their support, and then prompt them to leave a review. And Google is always on top because we've run so many surveys. They're always king. The majority of the traffic comes from Google. But then beneath Google, you can have other options. So, like, if you're in the home service industry, or if you're in the restaurant space, you'll want TripAdvisor or Caring.com, perhaps Facebook. So if you're concerned that the people you're going to be sending review requests to don't want to review on Google, then most review tools have the option to add additional directories below. So there's no workaround with Google. You have to have a Google account. With most legitimate review sites, you have to have an actual account in order to leave a review. Any other questions anybody might have? Well, Mark shared his contact information at the beginning of this call, but you can find both of us on LinkedIn. If you guys have any questions, we're here and happy to answer any questions or concerns that you might have. And thank you guys all for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brynn and Mark. This was excellent content and excellent feedback from all of you. We really do appreciate it. Again, this webinar was recorded, and along with the presentation deck will appear on our website early this evening. You'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. Thank you very much again to Brynn and to Mark and the entire Consumer Fusion team. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.